This film is the follow-up to the 2002 documentary We Never Give Up, that told the stories of 11 survivors of apartheid in South Africa and their campaign for reparations. We also reflected on the workings of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, known as the TRC, and the campaigns of the Khulumani Support Group.
Umyalezo ondusa kuRhulumente ngokuba makaqwalasele amaxhoba ukusinika ireparation kuba singamaxhoba ayelwela inkululeko sizabalazela inkululeko ngoku sifuna imbiyokezo yereparation.
Namhlanje ngoku nathi sasiluncedo kuRhulumente uba makade akhululeke kweli lizwe. Namhlanje ke ngoku nathi ke ngoku siyambulela bekhululekile. Ngoku sifuna ke ngoku kubuyiswe imbuyekezo zabantu abashekela ngaphandle ku-TRC.
The TRC paid out about 22,000. They declared 22,000 victims, not in Western Cape alone, countrywide. Out of 48 million people, they declared only 22,000 people as victims of gross human rights violations and abuses. Only 22,000. And it left thousands of people, of victims, out of the process. And Khulumani Support Group kept on banging in their doors to keep their doors wide open for the people to come and submit their statements. And our banging on their doors fell on deaf ears. And the TRC handed over everything to the Justice Department. We never gave up. We went to the Parliament to bang on their doors and gates. Again, our banging fell on deaf ears. We never gave up. We even went abroad. We went abroad to hold companies accountable for the damages they have done.
Apartheid case is in its 10th year now. It dates back to 2002 when groups of plaintiffs filed a claim in the United States District Court against a number of multinational corporations. And the basis of the claim essentially was that the multinationals had provided material support, particularly in the form of arms and ammunition, and in the case of banks, having provided much needed funding, in order for the apartheid government to perpetrate, the crimes that they did against black people.
To maintain its power and racist policies, the apartheid government frequently resorted to torture. John speaks on camera for the first time about his experience of police brutality when he was a teenager in the 80s.
They put these wires on my fingers. I have to be in a position. Can I show you? This is the position. As I was naked, I supposed to keep. So when I'm in this position, they took a stick. I don't know what type of stick it is. They put it here through. So you're in a position like that. Then as you left here, they put the stick here through. So when the stick is here through, it's most like hanging, passing here through, and then you're in this position, so they lift you up. So automatically, your feet is in the sky, like this with the stick over, your body is flat down to the ground as you lay down. So in order that when they interrogate you, they all that power that went through your body, it's coming down because your head is downwards. So it's like a kind of a brain effect.
Everything I do takes like much longer, but I get there.
Cahal was severely injured in a pub shooting at the Highgate Hotel in the Eastern Cape in 1993 that left 5 people dead and many seriously injured. Evidence has emerged recently that the apartheid state may have been responsible for the attack.
It's quite a disappointment to know that you are living in a country where you were in national service for 2 years with the South African Defence Force. And, I do feel that the people that night, at the guys that shot the Highgate, they must have known who was coming in and out there. If they're an Eastern Cape unit and they operated in this area, there's a possibility that they would know one of us. And as I said, being with the National Service, and for this to happen to someone that was trained to sort of be a white young guy fighting against the black the black guerrillas in the apartheid regime at that time. I just think they're a bunch of traitors and a bunch of cowards. I also think that people part of the old government are also involved in this this Highgate attack. They've been given orders to do this, and there's not a chance that people above that were head of the South African Police Defence, the South African Defence Force, is that they don't know what happened that night.
ngoku ke azagule ke ngoku usuke wagula wathi ugula kwakhe wakhathaza intloko zinyawo hayi enento ezilapha ke imibhomboshelo lapha abuye nawo phaa etrongweni wayenemibhomboshelo lapha esithweni esithi le mbhomboshelo kusithiwa ungenwe ingqele uba wayengenayo laa nto bathi koogqirha ungenwe ingqele naye ke ngoku wathi ngoselele apha phantsi ndevethi mama ngawukuva apha ezinyaweni ngakuva apha ezinyaweni ezinyawo zam ziyabanda andinanto ezibanda kangaka ndandawuthi yini ngathi azixho mntwini yiqabaka mani ndimfudumezele amanzi ke ndimfudumeze amanzi ndimfake ndimfudumeze amanzi ndimfake ndandixakokoba ndingamenza kanjani ingase ndimfake emanzini ashushu umzimba lo ngasafudumeza emanzini ashushu bathi oogqirha unenyumoniya bathi oogqirha bathi unenyumoniya wathi wabuya sishiya ke
In We Never Give Up, Monica described the horror of the disappearance of her mother and baby sister and its prolonged effect on her life.
Asekhona zonke izinto zami azikenzeki into endizifunayo uba zenzeke. Ndiye ndibuyele emva indawo yokuqala. Okwesibini, njebe ndinamaphupha nje ndisafuna umama indawo yokuqala.
In 2004, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development paid final reparations of 30,000 rand to almost 16,000 survivors identified by the TRC. This amounted to a quarter of what the TRC recommended. 1 billion rand remains in the President's Fund for reparations. In 2011, the department recommended limited education and health benefits to the closed list of survivors identified by the TRC. This falls far short of survivors' expectations for community reparations. Khulumani is concerned about survivors' exclusion from department decisions.
I couldn't really do a lot with the 30,000 rand because most of the monies had to either to go to people that I owed, because I had to lend a lot of money going from my home in the morning to Khulumani meetings, going to government institutions, mainly the TRC, to hospitals.
I gave some to my parents, and I did one of our rituals, which is costly, and it was gone. It went through my fingers before I knew it.
The TRC reparations, they said they're going to give us maybe 27,000 rands for 6 years. So they only gave us 30,000 rand once of payment, which for me didn't last long because I made a lot of debts and I had to pay for I gave some of the money for my mother, and I had to buy clothes because I wasn't working at that time for quite a long time. So basically for me it only lasted for maybe 2 months for me.
You know, at that time I didn't have a car and I was desperate to work. You know, I had to find a job and I used that money to buy a car, which is standing now, it's not going. Because for 30,000, what could I buy? I had to buy a second-hand car that was actually scrap to use to communicate and back and forth to work with this car. And with the work I do, working from site to site, as far as King Williamstown, it eventually never lasted. So, you know, where's my 30,000 now? It's a joke. It is a joke. It doesn't cover half of what I needed at that time, like an artificial arm or things to help me to improve my life from day to day.
Rebecca Truter, whose 15-year-old son, Christopher, was shot dead in 1976, participated in the first film. She was active in Khulumani and has since passed away. Audience responses to her story resulted in a fundraising drive for Christopher's tombstone. Her 2 daughters take her place.
It's quick. 30,000 goes very quick.
And I also told her she must give her house a facelift. And she put in those big windows. She buy a door, the burglar bar she put on, the big windows, and that was it. And she schemed the front. I told her to give your house a facelift, please. You 2 have the money now.
But it went very quick. It went very quick. But anyway, that was hell. And we go on after that again, like we used to go on.
When they closed, there was 850 million left in the President's Fund. I do not know why they kept the victims' money in their pockets or in their banks. And now it is now 1 billion rands. It has accumulated to 1 billion rand. And we are still fighting the government to pay out reparations to the people who deserve.
It was 30,000. I built my house and I bought things that I need, like frames that I didn't get from the housing, and door frames and some material for my house. This is my bedroom. This is my bedroom. This is the spare room where my grandchildren will sleep when they come on holiday to their granny. This is my kitchen. Because the boxes, electric boxes here, so this is my kitchen. And this will be a bathroom, a small bathroom. We'll have a bath once, twice or 3 times a week. And I took my son to a college in Athlone where he could learn computer, and I gave him a skill for life.
Maureen lives with diabetes and a dislocated shoulder as a result of police brutality. During filming, she suffered a series of severe strokes and moved from the shack on her plot in Philippi to live with her son in Mfuleni.
It's a long road when you want money from the government of South Africa. We Khulumani people, we went a long road, but we must pray to God that at the end there will be something that will happen. It was a long, painful road, and today we are, most of us, some of our members in Khulumani passed away, but God still spares us. We are sick today.
Skoweni, another participant in the first film, died of an early stroke and her daughter takes her place.
Esikolweni wayegula, wayeneswekile, wayenestress, umntwana wakhe angamfumaniyo ngeli xesha babebethwa ngamabhulu. Waye wastresseka ngolo hlobo, and uqala kwakhe ukugula uqale ngo-2005 eye eMclaughlin, wabuya eMclaughlin wadundela zinyawo. Emva bedundele zinyawo sacinga noba ibhasi thina, kanti ayisiyo bhasi, kungexesha aseneswekile, senyukele iswekile nalento lomntana wakhe. Sazama ukufuna amancedo, samsebantwini bachaza abantu ba ulento neswekile samsa nokogqirha, nogqirha wachaza uba uneswekile, wasiwa eJosta, wahlala eJosta, wamane ebuya ke, saphinda samthatha samsa eKTC, nase-KTC wabuya wanikwa ipilisi. Kwimini yokugqibela ngozawusweleka kungolwesithathu, simse kwagqirha ngolwesibini, ugqirha wamthumela eJosta enyanga, lusenyanga ugqirha wamthumela eJosta. EJosta wahlala ulwesine, lwesihlanu, apho azosweleka khona ke eJosta. Usweleka kwasikolweni kangakube right, kube right kuthi njengamntu ebephambi kwethu sobe simjongile, sihleli naye esenzela izinto ezirayithi. Kwalapha endlini bekumnandi, kungenwa ngabantu. Ngoku ngoku akukho right ngangekhoyo. Zininzi izinto esingavaniyo ngazo apha endlini, akukho mnandi. Xa kukho into ezinjalo zivela siyorepota kumakazi wethu lusenyanga, simxelele uba kukho into nje singavaniyo ngayo apha endlini singabantwana bakasikolweni.
It all started when I went to the TRC to seek help because I could not afford to pay a clinical psychologist for counseling. So when I went to submit my statement, at the end of it all, the statement taker asked me, "Hey Brian, what do you want the TRC do for you?" I said, "Look, I need a psychological help, but I cannot afford." They phoned the trauma center in Woodstock. So I was sent to Woodstock where I was counseled for more than 4 years. Sometimes I dream that I'm still in prison. Sometimes I'm still being tortured by the security branch in town, in Kilton Square.
And you wake up?
Of course I wake up. I wake up. I suddenly wake up screaming.
I went to the older age home. I came there fine. But after I've been on the bed, the massaging bed, I started getting dizzy. And then they said I must sit. I sat half an hour there at the old age home. And then I wanted to go. I wanted to come home. And as I got by the door, I fell over onto the sand. But lucky I didn't get hurt. But the dizziness was coming on and on, on and on, on and on. It didn't want to go away. Even now when you came there, I was still dizzy. And from time to time, they look at our sugar. The one lady in charge, she looked at our sugar.
But I think it's just every day when you come upon something, you have to try and figure it out on how to do it. There are times when I'm by myself and I have to find a way around it to do it. I do have a problem with putting my socks on in the morning when I go to work. I have to sometimes ask Thora to help me. I can't dry myself. I can't get to the back of my right-hand side body with my arm that can't bend.
There are a lot of things which, although he has learned how to adapt, physically it's less, it's more difficult for him to do. And because his elbow is plated, his arm is getting less mobile. So, yeah, it does become very difficult. And Cahal gets very, very frustrated if there's something that he'd like to do and he can't do it, like opening a bottle. If he can't open it, he gets very frustrated and sometimes throws it against the wall because he's very angry that he can't do it. So it's not easy. It's not always easy.
As a teenager, Colin had his nose broken during interrogation by police. He has had several unsuccessful operations since.
Our government really don't want to pay or spend money in public hospitals to do this kind of work, you know. And I already went to a private doctor for consultation and he told me this nose operation can be done at a medical hospital in Cape Town. And the doctors is there, but it will cost more than 100,000 rand at least to do it. But the problem is with my nose, it's affecting my eyes, it's affecting my speech, because you'll find that some days I speak very loud, and that is all depends on my sinus, because my sinus is very severely blocked now as I'm speaking, and I have to drink packs and packs of tablets, and it makes me addicted, very addicted. And now some days when I drink the tablets, in the afternoon I just fall asleep.
Ndandikula ngayo ndandikula ndandikhohlela ndinesifuba ndinantoni ndandikhohlela mani ndinesifuba ndinesinqe esiqaqamba kakhulu yayiloo nto ke into yandinawe wafumaneka uba ndandawufaka ke Wednesday kwafumaneka uba yi-TB njengoba ndithanda ujongwa phaya emesikeni phaa kulaa nto yaphuma inemgqobho i-TB yamba ndandidutyulwe wabuza ugqirha yintoni athi ke mna ndandidutyulwe iphuma inomgqobho i-Wednesday yam.
Indlebe ke yona Yaqala ngela xesha ngo-1986. Ewe. Bandibetha ngenqindi kwistrato okuthiwa useBeirut, ndibethwa ngamapolisa amhlophe ayenxibo oshoti enkhwele i-private car eyayi-light blue. Bandibetha ngenqindi ke endlebeni ndokuwa. Zakhe zacima izibane ndadize. Ewe, ndaqabuka ndise-day hospital eGugulethu ngolo xesha. Impilo yam yona ikho right kakuhle. Ngoku zithi zavela zonke ezanto zazisenzeka ndiphetheke kabuhlungu. Ndingabikho right ngoba nangoku ndine-high. Ndenziwa nelanto ne-operation apha entloko. Kwacaba bathi oogqirha ukhona umthambo obhlokileyo. Toti kunangoku andikho right, andikho right nditya iipilisi ze-high blood. Ngoba noba ndiyahamba ziyavela zona ezanto. Ngela xesha ndikhula, ndihlupheka.
I didn't go to a mainstream college to learn carpentry or plumbing or building, how to build a house out of the ground, but I had to learn myself. And well, in my blood, I come from a generation, my grandfather and his descendants were all builders, but that's in my blood. But I still had to learn myself the physical sides, you know, of building, you know, and it was very hard because unemployment is so big, and I didn't want to fall into crime because that is so easily you can get caught up in crime because there's a necessity to have money. So I learned myself the building trade. I went to go and do a lot of building jobs with skilled carpenters and plumbers, and that is where I learned the skills of building.
It wasn't easy to find a job in Johannesburg. I had to, at first I was trying to work on my own, to like doing cabinets and I was doing tiling, but it was hard to get clients, people to work for. Maybe I had one job for a month, and then I had to lay at home for 2-3 months, and then I get maybe another job, maybe tiling or cabinets, kitchen units. So I went on a cabinet making course for 6 months, and after that they organized me for a job. The people where I was at this course, they organized for a job for me. That's where I'm now working at for the last 6 months. I'm working there.
What is very interesting on my job also, I'm involved with a lot of people, the black population that I employ, that we employ. And a lot of these people have got a HIV, TB, and you know they've lost their parents and all that. And with me being in this situation, I seem to communicate very well with them, and I've got a very good working understanding with staff that I work with. You know, they talk about the Highgate to me, and they ask me questions and all that. And you know, my boss is also very supportive. When I tell him something else has come up with the NPA or the case has been reopened, you know, he says, yeah, it's good, we must get these guys and this must happen and that must happen. So yeah, he's very supportive. You know, if I need time off when I have to be involved with a meeting with the Highgate group, or we have to go to the Highgate Hotel or somewhere, you know, he gives me time off. He's very understanding, and he realizes that this thing in my life is something that I really want to carry on with and get to the end of it.
Bendithengisa kule ndawo impahla ezintsha namasekeli. ndithe ndisathengisa njalo kwafika amapolisa amhlophe walapha epolice station andixelela uba andinalayisensi yokuthengisa apha amasekeni, impahla ezindala ndizithatha phi na. Ndabe ke mna bendizithenga kuba andinamali yothenga impahla entsha. Imali yam incinci inele impahla ezindala amasekeni. Andinika ke ngoku isamani yoba mandiyobhatala elanto ePhilip. Ndemka ke ngoku ndayeka uthengisa ngoba andinamali yothengisa. Andiphangeli, andipeyi nkamnkam, urhulumente akandiniki niks. Uthi urhulumente vuka uzenzele. Ndithe xa ndivuka ndizenzele ndizithengisela amasekeni am ngemali yam encinci ndiyabanjwa. Ndithini urhulumente? Kutheni ungasapoti nje thina abantu bahluphekileyo? Ngoba sithi sofuna inkamnkam uthi si-underage, si-over ngeminyaka, si-underage ngeminyaka. Sithi sayophangela kuthiwa kufunwa abantwana uqala ku-18 ubheka ku-35 years. Sibadala ke thina ngoku asipeyi, sithini? Siyahlupheka.
A local government initiative offers relief to some ex-combatants. John tells us about his anti-poaching job.
Actually, what I'm doing now at the moment, I'm busy with anti-poaching, maintain law and order, patrolling or covering the Overberg, Overstrand Coast. I'm serving there as an anti-poaching officer. My colleagues at work is colleagues that were ex-combatants from MK side and from APLA side. And I think also it's open for other veterans. So when you always work, you never work for yourself or your family alone. There's always those loved ones or family or friends that was always there at the time when you never worked, also to bear their in mind, also to lend a hand with them, because it's what life is all about.
In Philippi, it's my plot and it's my house. But I was lonely, Shirley, because I was staying alone. And even if I don't feel well, I must cook for myself and I must do everything myself. I feel bad about my house and my plot, but my health comes first.
Because of apartheid's policy of forced removals to create racially segregated areas, many displaced people successfully claimed land compensation from the government.
The government said there's 54,600. Then we take it. They say, I can't buy my house because I must show my grandchildren sometimes, you know. I said there's a claim. I was in a claim in Mclaughlin. Then I bought the house. The people can't take this house. I said I must buy the house for my grandchildren and my children and see what's happening during the apartheid government.
The demand for housing in post-apartheid South Africa was addressed by the Reconstruction and Development Programme. However, these RDP houses have been condemned as inadequate.
And I'm still staying by my parents because if it wasn't for them, I had to go and put up a shack somewhere else or wait for one of these RDP houses. But these RDP houses is it's not good houses, you know. It's making people sick, you know. And these type of houses that government is building now, this type of RDP houses, it's more worse than what the apartheid government built for the people in South Africa. And we fought against the apartheid government for implementing this ghetto style of living.
This is RDB houses. This RDB houses will make me sick because we always get a chest and take a babe because my chest was full and then I can't breathe. That's why I want to put ceiling all this house, go to the bedroom, my bedroom, and go straight to the dining room. I was bowing.
What I have done at my house, I was putting ceiling, tiled the whole house on the inside, to painting, to paint the difference with painting, do some skirting in the house, try to change the doors, try to change what furnitures.
This arch, I like this door, like this arch, you know, this. Because people say you want to put that, no, I must get round. Because I want to put flowers here, I want to put some flowers there in the arch, and then the people go, you know, when you look at, must look properly. This is my flowers, this is my flowers. Will be beautiful.
With the outside I'm busy with, I was laying foundation of this money as I get it to make piece by piece from the foundation. By the next 2 weeks when I come back, I will reach to complete the whole structure by completing the roof. And then from there I know it's comfortable for my 2 children, my son and his sister. But if there is friends or comrades, is disillusioned or want to sleep over, also I know it will maintain also a purpose for them to have a place to sleep overnight.
Owamyalezo ndufakayo ngoku ngalomzuzu. Na njengoba besuka kuRhulumente kaThabo Mbeki wazekela waphela ixesha lakhe kwangena lo rhulumente umtsha kaJacob Zuma nekhabhinethi yakhe. Into esiyicelayo ngoku inye yokuba ke ngoku izinqindi bezishekile kula rhulumente azifezekise ngoku usukela ngoku nezicelo zethu zonke abeshene khona azifezekise. Unoba banditsho zawugugu into endala kuvele ezintsha nemisebenzi ke funeka ibonakala ngobutsha bayo ke ngoku njengoba siba sikulo rhulumente umtsha.
After a long battle to get my special pension, I got it after 3 years. And the people who receive special pension are people who were arrested for political reasons and tortured. And you have to spend something like 5 years in prison, and you have to be of a certain age before I got these pensions. I was down and out. I was almost down and out.
I don't receive a special pension. Yeah. The time we went to, is it now the TRC, to apply for special pensions, they told us we were too young to qualify for special pensions. So we are now over that age now, but we still don't receive special pensions.
Yeah, military healthcare should be available for us like it's available for the former South African Defence Force. We don't see any of that benefits, but every year money's been paid out for military veterans, you know, and it's excluding us to the far end of the table.
Disability grants have also proven difficult to access.
I think the government have written me off. I think if they look at you, if you've got no legs and no arms, they would say, yeah, we give you a disability grant. I've been from pillar to post with this disability grant. I've even approached government in Bishu And they're not even prepared to see me. And when I went to re-register once, they said to me, "What's the problem with you? You've got one arm, you can work." So, you know, this is the remarks we get. That when you don't even get as far as filling a form in, because they tell you straight, you know, you don't qualify for a disability grant in your situation. You know, you can go out there and earn a living.
Khulumani continues to offer an important platform for those campaigning for just reparations in South Africa.
Khulumani is growing by thousands. In Western Cape alone, we are close to 10,000 members, if I'm right, or more.
I joined Khulumani and I became very active, and that was also also another form of healing, you know, where I gained more confidence in myself. It was also the first time I went back to school in 2002 through Khulumani's Human Rights Media program. That was provided by Human Rights Media Center, and I gained a lot of skills. I became a lot more confident. I never knew I had such organizational skills and people skills, and ever since 2002 I progressed. I spoke in a lot of cinemas. I was part of a lot of community building within Bonteheuwel with a lot of communities.
Ndinganomnqweno bam kuqhubekeleke phambili sikwazi ufumana ugromba izinto zikasikolweni kuba wayelwela amalungelo wakhe, ngoba sinomnqweno uba zingafumaneka izinto sikwazi ukumenzela izinto.
Oh, she was very fond of Khulumani. Mom, where are you going? I'm going to Khulumani. I'm going. Wait, but I must first go to Modex. I must first go buy bread and butter and that and that and that. I say, leave that. Come, dress yourself, then you go. And tonight she come, and then she got to approach me. Did you eat? Yes, we had this and we had that. And I did see Shirley, and I did see, what's the lady's name again? And I say, what lady? Yes, all the ladies was there. Mama, this was there, and Mama, that was there. I like to go there. And I was so glad because she loved Khulumani.
Well, if you want to become a Khulumani member, you have to attend 3 meetings to know and to see what Khulumani stands for, what Khulumani is all about. And then after that, you can come on Wednesday again to fill in needs assessment form, and then you become a full member. But now we have now drawn a new strategy. We go out and do township and fill in needs assessment forms, because people cannot afford to come to Salt River. They live very far. They live in Khayelitsha, Gugulethu Crossroads, Tambo Village, and some other people are very old and sick. So we decided to draw a new strategy to go out to them.
Ndigqithisa umyalezo kumfo kaMsholozi xa siphakamise inyawo uba makabe kulaa ndawo akuyo. Ndigqithisa umyalezo uba singamalungu kakhulumane sicela asihoye, sicela imbuyekezo njengabantu ababehlukumezekile kakhulu. Enkosi.
The current democratic government has the responsibility to address the legacy of its predecessor, the apartheid state. These include community reparations, accountability for state atrocities, opening up the closed list of survivors and supporting plaintiffs' claims against multinational companies in New York.
Community reparations have to happen. It's part of of where we want to go to if we want to build a new South Africa. I won't say a perfect South Africa, but our teenagers in Bonteheuwel, they are lost. They don't have a sense of where they are belonging. They don't know where they come from, who were the people that fought so greatly for them. They have no sense of belonging. That is as far as youth is concerning and as far as history. And I think community reparations need to restore history.
I want the truth from this group. If these guys could just come forward and say they would like to meet us face to face and explain to me how they went about the attack, why the Highgate was chosen as an attack, what was the reason that they chose the Highgate Hotel. Is it the truth? And that's all I would want, is the truth and the honesty from these guys.
Endilindele kulorhulumente umthanga angasandenzele yona ingasanyuse le mali ingasandise nale ndlu ingenayo nekamile ndihleli kuyo urhulumente ingasanyendise nale ndlu ingenayo nekamile kunzima nothini yonke into laba phambi kwami yonke into kunzima nomuntu ongena abantu abahlala bawahlala kanjani ba akhona ekamile ingase ndinyuse ndilungisele le ndlu ndandisele le ndlu anyuse nale mali ngoba ayikho le mali nqoko uyenza yenye ngoba la ndithengisa nokuthengisa ngoku usisibantu abalapha kule ndlu andithengisa ndithini ndiyinto nje.
Lingakhona uxolelo xa kukho imbuyekezo and liyadiphenda olo xolo uba linjani na. Uyayiqonda loo nto? Wenze ntoni lo mntu? Qale ke ngoku ube noxolo. Like njengalapha eKTC, apha eKTC batshisa izindlu. Kwakho abantu ababhubhayo. Bayitshisa yonke le KTC nje buyibona uyoma eNY5. Kwakho abantu abaswelekayo. Xa benovela ke kwaabantu belapha bangathumeli beme nabo bathethe nabo. Nemibuzo eyawuthi ibuzwe ngabantu bayiphendule aba bantu bafuna uxolelo. Babe nento kodwa ke abathi sizocela uxolo ngale nto sinayo. Sizonibuyekeza. Zinikwazi ugquma namathambo. Lingakhona uxolo. Ungamxolela njani umuntu wayewonile emosha into zakho abe yena ehlutha ehleli kwi-Tape Mountain? Abe sithi uxolo ngolo xesha amboni ngamehlo. Mani uthumela uba ndifuna uxolelwa kabantu. Ungamxolela njani? Ube wena uhlele ezantsi elidakeni.
And money can't bring your child back, or even you fight for this land. It brings you got still that memories. When like now June 16, you got still that memories, and you still think, oh, I fight and and the government don't see to me. They got high jobs, but they say these children are illiterate, and they mad and all that. But they was in the struggle. And the police hid them. Today they are mad, yes, because they were tortured. They were still kids, but they were tortured like big people. So I think he must look after them. I want to tell him he must look after them. And myself, because I was hiding them also. And I was in the parent support group, and we had to cook undercover. I was working by Grooteski. I had to give the doctors give me there. I was an ANC doctor there. I had to bring the bandages and all that things. I had to bring home undercover. I did do my job also, so he must look after me myself.
Most of the people in our areas is unemployed. They don't know, they're not skilled well enough to cope, to create work for themselves. Our schools is broken down, our social fabric in our community is broken down. There's not a level of communication. These are all the things that community reparations can bond again.
We're all in different situations, and our needs are different. So, you know, some would, as I said, some would like to be compensated in full. Some would like a house. Some would like a pension. Some would like a medical aid. So I think there's a lot of needs that, and I think we all have different needs. Yeah.
I think also something that they don't include is emotional support. I think a lot of people need something just to keep them functioning day to day, things that people take for granted. And a lot of people who have emotional scars are not able to function day to day, and it's something we all just take for granted. And maybe apart from counselling, they need places where they can go to, where there are people who have also gone through similar traumas.
I want to say that I don't think that our law firm and the law firm of Mr. Michael Hausfeld would have been able to do it without your commitment and the strength that you've shown. And that's where it's important that we need to pressurize the government to say, government, you've got a responsibility to talk to this company so that the companies can come to the table.
In the past, I know a lot of years ago, the Mbeki government tried everything to stop us of pursuing that multinationals, you know, bringing them to justice for what they did in South Africa. I just hope, and I'm very hopeful, that the Jacob Zuma government in South Africa will support us as being the victims and the survivors of the apartheid wars in our class suit. And as an MK member also, I believe that this ANC government that's leading now should support us, because we supported it into power.
At the end of the day, what matters most is ultimately this has been a claim on behalf of hundreds of thousands of individual plaintiffs, you know, out there. So it's essentially about individuals, you know, who have been harmed and, you know, who obviously is in need of, you know, redress. And so if there is an offer on the table, then they should be central.
Taking part in this film, in these two films, part 1 and part 2, is to expose the government, the current government, how it has failed its own poor and vulnerable people who fought and died for them. And also to expose the half-done work of the TRC.
Talk everything in your heart, you know. This is a speak out. This is the right thing. You can speak out because you can stand in a platform and talk with the people what pain you have inside your heart. You know? That's why I like it. I like if this will never keep up. You make up. I like it. I'm so proud because I want to talk to the people.